standard form. Last week we talked about point slope form, right? Which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. What's another form? Slope intercept. Y equals mx plus b. And our last form of linear is standard. It is ax plus by equals c. Point slope gives a point and a slope. Slope intercept gives a slope and the y-intercept. Standard gives you nothing. Okay? Standard form lends itself nicely to x and y intercepts, which we're going to talk about today. And it also really reflects a lot of real world scenarios. Y'all remember that warm-up problem we did with the small tables and the large tables? Yeah, that one was written in standard form because a lot of real world scenarios is a comparison of two different things, which is the x and the y. Okay? So, notice in standard, it has A, B, and C, which is a new addition for us. There is no M, which means that there is nowhere in the equation that slope is just standing out at us. You guys have dealt with lots of standard form, but I've been having you take it and turn it from standard into slope intercept form. We're going to go the reverse now. So we know that y equals mx plus b is the slope intercept form from the equation of a line. So y equals 3/4 x plus 2 is a line that has a slope of what? 3/4 and a y-intercept of 2. Three x plus 2y equals 6 is the same line. It's just in standard form. Say again? I'll show you. We're going to transform it. Okay, so A, B, and C are any integers, and A, not B, cannot be negative. So if I'm talking about integers, 3/4 is not an integer, right? Which means that you cannot have no fractions or decimals. So when I start manipulating 3/4 x plus 2, that 3/4 has to be dealt with because I can't have fractions. So in the example, 3x plus 2y equals 6, which is what up here. What is my A value? 3. What is my B value? 2. And what is my C value? 6. And you can always keep C. Remember, C always is the constant. C is the constant. So 3, 2, and 6. If you're converting from slope intercept, so we have y equals 3/4 x plus 2. And I want to convert it into standard form. It doesn't look anything like it, right? 3x plus 2y equals 6. Where did everything go? Well, here are our steps. Get rid of any fractions by multiplying every term by the common denominator. What would the common denominator be if I only have one fraction? 4, right? There's just the one value. So I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So 4 times y, 3/4 x times 4, which is 3x. 2 times 4, 8. Okay, so already it's starting to look a little bit more. This is not the same equation. This should be 8. It's not the same equation. Sorry, friends. That's not the same equation. We're going to change it. Sorry. We're going to keep going. Now, rewrite the equation so the terms of both variables are on the same side of the equation. Place the x term first, then the y term. So if I need the x on the same side, what am I going to do with that? Subtract 3x. So negative 3x plus 4y equals 8. The leading term, the x term, must be positive. Is it positive? No. How do I make it positive? Multiply everything by -1, because you can't just change one value. It's an equation, you have to change everything. So it becomes 3x minus 4y equals -8. And that is your standard form. So A is always a positive integer. So we're going to say a lot. Okay, A has to be positive. Is A positive? Everything has to be an integer. Is everything an integer? No fractions, no decimals. All right. Look at number 1. Fractions or decimals? No. So we don't really have to worry about step 1. Step 2 is, are both of my variables on the same side? No. What has to move? 8x. So negative plus u 8x plus y plus u equals -7. Why is it not good? A is negative. We need to multiply everything by -1 so that I get 8x. Very good. Bless you. Let's look at 3. Y minus 12 equals -2 times x plus 1. That's not slope-intercept form. What is that? Point slope. Okay, to get point slope into standard, unfortunately, it's going to take a little bit more work because I have to get it to slope-intercept first. So, distribute the -2. Y minus 12 equals what? Minus 2. Okay, now what? Plus 12. Y equals -2x plus 10. So now you're in slope-intercept, but we'll have to move. X, what am I going to do? So 2x plus y equals, and you're good. Everything checks out. Number 4 is almost there. All my variables are in the right spaces. What's wrong with it? Fractions. What's my common denominator? 4. 1/4 x times 4. Okay, so x, half of 4. So plus 2y. 3 times 4. Do I have to do anything else? Nope, everything checks out. That's it. Y'all do number 2. What y'all get? X minus 2y. Very good. Okay, you have to do multiple things. Multiply everything by 2. Subtract 2x. Or no, subtract x, sorry. Subtract x. Well, then that would have been negative, so you had to flip everything. Good. Okay, let's talk about 5 and 6 together. If a equals 0, then we have something like y equals 3. Y equals 3. What kind of line is that? Horizontal line. It has no x, so it doesn't touch x. The only kind of line that doesn't touch x is a horizontal line. So that is a horizontal line. So they said a equals 0. So 0x, so if I have ax plus by equals c. Remember at the beginning I said think of c as your constant. What is the constant value in that equation? 3. 3. What was your coefficient of y? No. What's the coefficient of y? How many y's is there? 1. So it says, what would the equation be in standard form using a, b, and c? So 0x plus 1y equals 3. Realistically, if I rewrote it, it would be back at the same thing, right? Because I shouldn't have to write 0x. If the equation is x equals -2, what kind of line is that? X equals -2. Vertical. So what coefficient of which value would be 0? Y, because the y is gone. What's the coefficient of x? 1. Because look, x equals -2. What is the invisible coefficient? What is the coefficient of x? 1. If there's nothing there, it's a 1. Equals, what's your constant? -2. When I said the c is the constant, right, your constant is the number. It's not being multiplied by anything. So it's always going to be just on the other side. Okay. Yes. Well, in that case, that would be your x-intercept because it's a vertical line, right? It doesn't have a y-intercept. Yes. Yes. Okay, let's do one more. Write an equation with another form, then to write it in standard form. So you can't start with standard form, unfortunately, unless you have a word problem. The slope of a line is 2 and it goes through point 2, -2. At this point, tell me which form should I start with? James. Why?
Because you have the slope at the point.
Very good. You get to make choices now. You guys know all of the forms. So if you have the slope and a point, I would expect it to be written first in point slope form. So y plus 2 times, very good. And then we need to change it to standard form. So go ahead and distribute that 2 for me. What am I going to get? -4. Okay. Now what needs to go? -2. So y equals -6. Yes. How did I get what? You could. It's going to be faster for me to use point slope. But you could. Okay. 2x minus 6. Am I done? No, I want standard. What now? Subtract 2x. -2x plus y equals -6. Am I done?
No.
What do? Times -1. So I get, very good. Okay. beginning of your packet. Standard form is good for something, and it's really easy in standard form to find intercepts. How would I describe an x-intercept?
Y is 0.
Okay, so then y equals, I know that for my x-intercept, y would be equivalent to 0. I agree with that. What else can I say about an x-intercept? Where the line crosses x, right? And it would always be x, comma 0, whatever your x value is, comma 0. What about my y-intercept? Opposite. So x equals 0. Its form would always be 0 and then some y value. And it's where my line crosses the y-axis. Just a straight line. Because we're talking about linear equations, right? Okay. If I have a table, I have sets of points. If I'm looking for an x and a y-intercept, which values are important to me? Zeros. Your x-intercept is actually called the 0 of the function, because your output or your solution is 0. So -2, 0, and 0, 4. Which one of those is my x-intercept? -2. And we are going to write them as points. Do not just write -2 here, because it will be a multiple choice question and they will have the answer with it in the wrong place. And inevitably somebody picks it, because you guys, if you are just writing the value, you need to make sure you get that point. So what's my y-intercept? 0, 4. Go to my next table. What's my x-intercept? 2, 0. What's my y-intercept? 0, -3. Very good. Y'all do the next two. What'd you get for the next one? -8, 0, and 0, 12. Okay, the last one you had to do a little bit of investigating. What was my x-intercept? 12, 0. How? If I take my table up, there's my x-intercept. What's my y-intercept? 0, 6. If I took my table down, there's my y-intercept. If you know that it's a line, use your rate of change to get the point you need. Okay, so from the table, everybody good with that? Yes? All right, searching for zeros. Now, those look familiar? What form is that? That's standard form. Standard form is real nice for finding intercepts. Now, if I'm looking for intercepts in an equation, that use of the 0 is going to come in handy, okay? Remember, your x-intercept is where which value is 0? The y. So I'm going to take my equation and I'm going to replace y with 0, and I'm going to solve for x. Well, what's 3 times 0? 0, 0. So 2x equals 6. What's x? 3. So my x-intercept is 3, 0. What would I do to find my y-intercept? opposite, 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 6. Well, what's 2 times 0? 0. So 3y equals 6. What's y? 2. So my y-intercept is 0, 2. Y'all try 2 and 3. Number 2. What'd you get? 8, 0, and 0, negative 6. Very good. Number 3. 3, 0, 0, 3. Very good. Okay. Next one's the brain buster. All right. How would I pull x and y intercepts from a graph?
Find a point.
Look for points. Right? Look at the point. Where does it cross the x and where does it cross the y? So where does this equate? Where does that line cross my x-axis? 1. So 1, 0. What's my y-intercept? 0, 1. Number 2. What's my x-intercept? 5, 0. What about my y? Very good. Number 3. What's my x? 2, 0. What's my y? You got it. If they could all be like that, right? Okay. I've combined a couple of things. How do I find x and y intercepts on the equations? Plug in zeros, right? So if I plug in my zeros, and I get my x and my y intercepts, let's quickly do number 1. So, okay, so what's my x intercept there? 6. What will my y-intercept be? 4. No, quick. I have 2 points, and I have a graph. If I have my intercepts, I have enough information to find the slope. I have enough information to graph. Just like you just pulled the points from the graph, we're going to put the points on there and make the line. So 6, 0 and 0, 4 create that line. What would that slope be? Negative. I heard somebody say it. Negative what? Not negative 1. Negative 4 over 6, which is negative 2/3. Good. Y'all do 2 and 3. I've got pass back quizzes. All right. We are interpreting based on the scenario. So we're going to go quick. X-intercept is the point where the graph touches the x-axis and the form is x, 0. The y-intercept touches the y-axis and it's 0, y. Okay, we're probably only going to have time to get through one of these, but it'll make sense, all right? If you're interpreting intercepts, you need to think about the scenario. So if I look at my graph, what helps me figure out what's going on? The x and y axis, they're labels, right? The number of songs downloaded and the gift card balance. So what is my y-intercept here? 20. If I'm talking about songs downloaded and gift card balance, what would the y-intercept represent? The starting balance. The starting balance. If you haven't bought anything yet, your starting balance is the y-intercept. What's the x-intercept? 5. And it represents the number of songs I can buy before what happens? Run out of money. Could I find out the cost per song? Yeah, because you have 0, 20, and 5, 0. What would my slope for that be? -4. Which makes sense, right? The balance is going down $4 for every one song, which means each song costs $4. So to find that, what did you find? The slope. The slope. Okay? So, you picked up multiple things today. The second packet, everybody listen to what I'm saying.